Hi guys, good morning. How are you? Welcome in. Wanted to jump on here and tell you my story, what happened yesterday. I think I blogged about how this new office that I'm working at, when I entered it, it was so, like the energy was so weird. It just was so, as soon as I entered the space, I felt it. I'm just shaking. I had a crazy meditation this morning. I went out of body and was channeling, trying to take on an energy that was a past life. I don't know why I keep getting taken into these meditations where I'm going into past lives. But so one of my main guides that came to me months and months ago was Merlin, and he shows up quite a bit. My guide that I talk to, speak with, that is with me on the daily is Charles, which is kind of fucked up because I didn't ask why. You don't pick your guides, right? They're there waiting for you. You're born with one. You have a whole group of them just waiting for you to tap into them. If you need them, they're looking out for you. They're not necessarily past loved ones. They're different. Don't get me wrong, past over loved ones look after you, but your spirit guides are specific to you through your reincarnation right now, planned out, ready for you. Once you start wanting to reach out to them, connect with them. Charles. And I want, if you're on this path, don't be afraid of your spirit guides. They are, most of mine are Charles is hilarious. He guides me in in a funny, witty way. He's I don't know. He's something else. But Merlin is a master guide of mine. And it's so weird how today I went into, I didn't even know this was a thing, but I went into this meditation where Merlin, it was a Merlin transmission. And he showed me, he brought me into this space. He put this mirror in front of me and took me, and I looked into the mirror, and he took me into a past life. And in this past life, I went into two different past lives. They were I kept going back and forth between the two, and I was the same thing in both past lives, which essentially a high priestess, right? So the Atlantean past life that I experienced, and I continue to experience pretty powerfully, I keep getting reminded about it, that I had this high priestess healer past life in Atlantis. And I would essentially work for the people, but I was connected with the royalty, right? The king and queen of Atlantis, the ones that were in the temple and essentially ruled over the Atlanteans. So I'm in with them deep. I have my own little throne, next to their big thrones, and I'm garbed, differently, as a high priestess, as a healer. And I get taken there a lot, in the pools, and it's just crazy. But then this other past life came about this morning, and I mirrored the high priestess of Atlantis, but it was medieval times. And I'm trying to think of what it would be called. But I wasn't the king or the queen, but I was the high priestess, the person who like the mystic, like that they kept close to them for guidance, for healing, for just spiritual stuff. And I got taken into this carriage, and it's so weird. It's like when I'm like channeling, either in meditation or outside of meditation, I kind of go back and forth between like seeing it through my own perspective on what's going on, and then I also envision like then it's like me seeing like on the outside, like me being there watching what's going on. It's a trip. But so I'm in this carriage, and I'm getting taken to, and it's like a lot of it's to do with children. Like I'm healing children. Like I got taken to this cottage, and like I like leave the castle, and I get taken to this like house essentially, where this child is sick, and I like perform this whole ceremony and like do this healing over this child who's sick. And then I get taken back into the castle, and I get taken to this like princess who's pregnant, who's going to essentially pass away due to childbirth. And I like am there with the midwife who receives the baby, and then there's this whole thing. And so anyway, in meditation, and this has only happened to me a few times, but I think like I just must be like just like gaining more I don't know, like psychic channeling strength, I don't know, or just being reached out to in like, or like being like overwhelmed with energy. But I felt like I was trying to be taken into it, like something was trying to take me out of body, and I started to shake in meditation, and like I couldn't control my facial reactions. Like I was like moving my jaw, and I was in meditation, but I was experiencing all these like physical reactions, like that I couldn't control. I don't know what I was trying to be taken into, but I felt like I was like not, like something was like taking over my body. Like it wasn't me. And it was kind of scary. I felt this really heavy weight. Like, and I'm in meditation, but physically I'm feeling it. And I can't control it, but I felt this really heavy weight. And then I like, essentially like an energy surge. Like something was like almost like entering me, or like I was like definitely like channeling this high priestess that I was like living in this past life. And I felt like that past life spirit or energy was like really trying to like enter my body. And it was such a trip. And I just kept hearing like clear audiently, like Merlin like kept saying high priestess. And it's like the more he said it, it was like almost like a mantra. Like the more he said it, it's like I like physically started to trip out. Like it was scary because I wasn't in control. Anyway, that was this morning. What the fuck? Oh. So I experienced some fucked up shit, and it's just getting worse, but it's like I love it, right? It's kind of spooky, but I'm like embracing it. I'm trying to really embrace it, and like the more I embrace it, the powerful it gets, and it's like I open up more, and like the veil is thinner and thinner and thinner. But yeah, this office that I am working at now, there's something there, and I felt it. It's an Earthbound, and I was talking about Earthbounds, and the difference that I'm recognizing for me, it could be different for everybody who is psychic and empath, intuitive, can reach out to souls and entities in not only in the 3D but in other dimensions. What I'm coming to find out is when I sense an energy of an earthbound, it doesn't speak to me. I don't know why yet. Maybe I have to like open up the veil, thin the veil even further for it to like speak to me. But the earthbounds, the souls that are kind of like, they haven't ascended yet and they're just here trying to figure it out. I think it's like souls that have, they're just unsettled, unfinished business. I spoke about this and I'm obviously being drawn to it because I experienced it the other night and I could feel it. I knew it was there. I saw it clairvoyantly, but it wouldn't speak to me. Whereas souls that and spirits that have ascended, like past loved ones, will speak to me. And I think it's because they are at a high vibration and are of light. And like, I know I have this inner knowing that I'm a light worker, and I've obviously spent some past lives as a high priestess. Like, it's just something it's like, and there's things in my like childhood that now I look back on, I just like, that makes complete fucking sense. Like, I would have these dizzy spells. And it was like when I was a kid, and they were always so unexplained. Like, nobody could figure it out. And it was always when I was sleeping, which, I mean, I can talk about astral travel I'm not going to go into that today, but when I was a kid, and it's never stopped until, like, it didn't even stop for me. Like, I would have a dizzy spell again, like, even as an adult, like once or twice a year. And I could never figure out like what it was. But basically, as a kid, it happened quite often. And we can, like, it was all, the only thing my parents could figure out is like, it always happened when I was like laying on my back. And it would always happen when I was in my sleep. And basically, I would wake up and the room would just be like spinning. And I would like miss school because I'd be like all fucked up and nauseous, and like looking back, I'm just wondering, when you meditate, and if you want to meditate, you lay on your back and your spine aligns, and that like all your chakras is aligning, and it can like, the energy transmits through you easily. And just as like, if you want to meditate sitting up, you have to like keep your back straight, and so you have that alignment, right? Like your crown to your root, and your crown chakra, which is at the top of your head, and your root chakra is at the base of your spine, and you want to have that alignment so the energy travels. Same as if you're meditating laying down. And so I'm just wondering, like, thinking back, like, as a kid, was the energy too much? And it was just making my, and then like I would always like sneak out at night and like go like perform all these like, I don't know, I would try and do like spells and seances. And then I had that unexplained like seizure. So weird. Anyway, just like shit like that. Like I like think back and I'm just like, oh. And like my first and like I'm gonna tell you to watch this, because like I think you should really try it, practice. Like I think that you're a light worker and that you have a life that like you need to tap into some of this shit, because at 8, she was 18, I was 17. Our first tattoos were our like astrology signs. We were always super into it, doing our horoscopes, blah blah blah. And I was always into like mythology and like I loved like Aphrodite. I was like obsessed with Aphrodite. Anyway, God, I'm like going off on a tangent. My mind can be all over the place. Like I'm just so like, I want to know about this. I want to know about this. Like everything's just like, everything is clicking and making sense, but there's so much to it. It's so in depth. So anyway, yesterday I was at work, and this office it's kind of old and just kind of weird, and just like the energy that when I entered the space, shifted, and I recognize it now. I recognize the change. Like I'm normal, I'm normal right now. I'm not feeling like I feel like I'm at a high vibration, but it's like when there's that shift and I can just like recognize it. Like I usually get like goosebumps. My third eye will activate, like start to pressurize, I guess, and just kind of like, and then a lot of times I'll get like eye darting, like behind, like if I close my eyes will dart. And even if like it's kind of fucked up because I have to hide it sometimes, because sometimes I'll get around certain people and I'll get activated by their energy body, and I'll try and like, I feel like I'm like trying to channel something from them, or I'm just taking on their energy. I'm still trying to figure it out, because it happens when I'm around people who are alive sometimes. Like I get around certain people and I'll get activated. And then it happens when I'm not around anybody and there's just an energy. Like there's somebody there that is not alive. So I think I'm just trying to channel, and I'm just taking like empathically, intuitively being activated from their energy, because everybody's energy. And I just think some energy bodies of people who are alive, like I'm meant to like recognize like there's something up with them, or not necessarily bad, just like, I don't know. But so yesterday when I started working at this office, they were like, yeah, just be careful of the door because it locks itself. They're like, yeah, so if the bathroom is outside of the office in like the hallway or whatever, they're like, yeah, so if you're ever here by yourself, just take your keys because that door will lock itself even when it's unlocked. I'm just like, okay. And yesterday the attorney left and I was just in there by myself. And it's like this space where it's like there's like all this old stuff everywhere. There's this old grandfather clock that chimes, which, like, really. And I was at my computer, and I like had this. I saw something over my right shoulder, like a flash. And I instantly like got like goosebumps, right? Like I was just like, I just knew something was there. So I just kind of waited. And then I like turned, I guess it happened over my right shoulder. And I turned, and the hallway, like to the attorney's offices are right there. And I was just drawn, like, I just knew to like look that way. And I just kind of waited and kind of like looked around the office, like looked that way, like, okay. And I started to activate, and I was like, okay, I know something's here. I've always known there's something fucking there. And it was like when I was by myself, of course, it just showed up. And it didn't, I was like, do you need something? Like, I was just trying to be like, open to conversation. Like, can I help you? Like, do you need something? Like, are you okay? I think I'm like, are you okay? Like, are you okay? Are you there? Are you okay? No, nothing. No answer. And then I looked towards this hallway, and this has happened to me multiple times where the energy shifts, and I know, and I can see like the linear lines. Like everything in the 3D world is like we live a linear life, like lines. Like if you can imagine like the corner of a cupboard, or the lines on a island, the walls, the doorways, everything's like linear lines. And so this has happened to me, and I recognize where the energy and the spirit is, because the linear lines start to fucking change. It's crazy. It's a trip. And they start to like, they get like watery almost. And they like start to morph and they're not linear anymore. So I know that there's something of the unlinear world in that space. Now, it's happened to me a few times where this starts to happen, and then a past loved one, clairvoyantly, I will see them. It happened in the Earthbound, I didn't see them. I just saw the energy, like where it was, and it still didn't speak to me. So I just left it alone. Went back, was like trying to do my work. And then the door, it was like dead quiet in there too, you guys. Except for I could hear the clock ticking, the grandfather clock. And the door locked. Click. I was like, okay. I was just, and it was right after I did tarot. And so I only had like half an hour left at work. The attorney left, right? And I had my tarot. And I just wanted to pull some tarot. And so I started doing tarot, and it was fucked up. Like, it was like, I'm like, this isn't my energy. It was all very negative, very sad, very in pain. And I was like, what is this? Who is this? And like looking back, I think it's that Earthbound. Like, it had to have been. And I did like, I think I did 2 or 3 different spreads, and it kept coming up the same, like very sad and painful. I didn't know who it was. It's like, what? Like, who is this? Who am I channeling? What energy am I channeling? This is not like, this makes no sense to me. And it like, I had to be that spirit, whoever's in there. And so the door locks. And as soon, like right after the door locks, the grandfather clock, of course, goes off. Boom, boom. I'm just like, I'm like so activated this time, at this point. And I could just feel it all around me. And it wasn't scary. Like, the other one that I experienced was scary, because I kind of like, I didn't see who it was, but it came up as like a dark image, like very very dark, unsettled, angry. This one, it showed up in my spreads as like sad and just of like confusion. And you guys, like, there was this, like, there's like these drawers behind me, and I like, the drawer was open like this much behind me, and like, I would say 15 minutes after the door locked itself, actually, so the door locked itself. I got up, unlocked the door. I went to the bathroom myself. I was like shaken up. I was like, oh my God. I come back in, get back on my computer, and the freaking drawer behind me shuts itself. Okay. I feel you. I think I said, I'm here. Like, I'm here for you if you like need something. And it just like left me alone. But I'll be interested working at that office 3 days a week. What goes on? And if it like, What's crazy is like I like the attorney that I worked there when I first met him. I got activated, and I had to like look away from him because my eyes started like, and I was just like I couldn't even like I lost track of like what he was saying because I was like taking on this like I started to channel something from him. So anyway, that was my story, and I had to say that because I remember. I think I blogged about it, or I did a video about it that I was like, okay, I like I'm starting up. I worked at starting at this new office, and there's something there, and it showed up yesterday. That's crazy. I'm working at the other office today, thankfully. Like I said, it wasn't scary. I just like, okay, what do you want? Like, I'm sorry. I'm here to help you if I can. You seem sad. It was sad. That's what my tarot was telling me. And I feel like I was like I was doing a tarot spread for this soul, this Earthbound. Because why else would I be told clairaudiently do tarot? And it came up and I was like, I don't know what this is. It was wild. Okay, I have time to pull for one deck, and I'm just like drawn to, I'm going to do from the Earth Magic deck today. Dude, those meditation, that meditation this morning was, it was kind of scary, you guys, like, not being in control of your own body and feeling like something was trying to take it over. Okay, let's see where this goes. Good news is Venus goes Venus goes direct tomorrow, between today and tomorrow. It's been in retrograde since December. So in Venus, I don't know. Guys, Venus is obviously the planet of love, relationships. It's the divine feminine. February, obviously, we have St. Valentine's Day. And so, I'm wishing all of you guys lots of love with Venus going direct. I encourage you to check your natal chart. If you don't know how to read your natal chart, you can do a free natal chart and private message me, and we can walk through it together. It essentially makes up your whole you, what makes you, all the different placements, all the different houses, your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, your Venus sign, your Mars, where those are. Your natal chart is all the placements of the planets and the stars, certain asteroids too, at the exact time and moment and place that you were born. So for me, it's like Iowa City, Iowa at 2:59 a.m. on January 21st, 1987. Where exactly were all the placements of our solar system at that exact moment? The natal chart's so fucking cool. So anyway, check out if you do your natal chart, check where your Venus is. Remember the fifth house is all about the fifth house is sexual, it's sex and relationships, and it's just it's not necessarily, it's kind of like the flings, it's you're that's the fifth house. And then the seventh house is more like marriage and stability, and but if you really want to know, your eighth house is the placements in your eighth house make up what goes behind the scenes of your relationship, not in the relationship, not what the relationship is, but what goes behind the scenes with you, with your partner. So if you want to really kind of dive into where your relationship is going, or what you should look for in a relationship, you should check out your eighth house. Okay, so fifth house, sex, seventh house, marriage, eighth house, the you that you put into the relationship. Okay. Let's see where this goes. Sorry this is like got long, like it, but like these stories, like, instinct and compassion when I cut it, guys. That was kind of like yesterday, like your instinct, your intuition. What is it telling you about your love life, about compassion? Came out again. Completion. Full moon energy. The energy of the full moon, of the the energy in the moon in general is the divine feminine. And with Venus going direct, which is, Venus is the divine feminine, I feel like listen to your instinct. Find the divine feminine in you guys. Like, if this resonates with you, I'm telling you, maybe a completion of a cycle, okay? Which is also like Venus coming out of retrograde. It has completed that transition, right? So full moon energy, completion, listen to your instincts about your love life and your instinct as the divine feminine, and let it empower you, okay? I hope this resonates. I hope you enjoyed my fucked up story. And have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.